Welcome, everybody. This is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 105. And if those of you are just joining me for the first time, welcome. Those of you who are coming back for more, welcome again. Raging Verbalist is things that I think of and stuff that comes up. Also, if you want to add to the conversation, join the conversation, go and join the Facebook group position2winbook.com, position2winbook.com, because of course it's based upon the book. Anyway, and then we're working under some kind of difficult circumstances today, but we will pull through because that's what we do. The show must go on. It will not end. It will not stop. Okay. And with me, as always, is the ever lovely Sandra. Sandra is playing a little hurt today, so we'll take sympathy, empathy, and all of those things. So, Sandra, I'm glad you were able to make the call, and she's going to tough it through because she is a trooper.
That's right. Hello. And I should say happy belated Thanksgiving.
Yes. So if you're watching this, you've already eaten, you've already gorged yourself, and you're on a caloric high going down. So, okay. So, Sandra, what are we going to talk about today? What is our topic at hand? As if I didn't know, and I will be surprised.
All right, so it's Black Friday. So first question, is this Black Friday going to be different from any other Black Friday?
Well, the answer is last year was kind of kooky. Okay. And this one's even kookier. This one's, I say that's a resounding yes, check mark, let's go on. But there's some crazy that we get to talk about. First off is that I have been to a bunch of different stores, empty shelves, empty things, people going a little bit crazy. One of the things that I found most intriguing was that I was at of all places, at a supermarket this week, and there was a woman who was hoarding half and half, as if it was going to run out. And she asked me, given that my height, if I could go get all of them. And she grabbed 6 of these little half and half quart things. And she said, this is the best brand. And they only have 6. And now I have it. So people are getting a little crazy, a little Lord of the Rings, precious, and they've got it. And, and I'm looking at her going, it's half and half, lady. I mean, I don't know. You probably go over and buy the little tiny cups that never spoil and just down that or something. In an emergency. I just can't imagine her house, but okay. So, but I did my good deed. I helped her get and hoard all of the half and half. And yes, and yeah, is this going to be different? It is. I think seriously different. First off, prices are up. For those of you who hadn't noticed. I bought gas just before Thanksgiving, and at the Costco, I paid $4.20 a gallon, which is the cheapest you can find it in Southern California that I can find it. And at 5:30 in the morning, I got there before 5:30 when the station opened. We were all waiting in line, strumming our fingers, waiting. And then the guy finally opened it up, and it was, the place was filled, and after I got my tank's worth of gas and I looked out there, parking lot was filling up with those wanting to buy gas. So is it different? You bet. And prices are seriously up. So I guess the phrase should be, yes, shitstorm. Okay, next.
Shit Friday? New name? All right. How did we end up with all of these ships waiting to drop their cargo and no way to get that done?
Well, you gotta love a perfect storm of stupidity, and and maybe that's even alliterative, storm of stupidity. SOS, storm of stupidity. Anyway. First off is the fact that we had kind of we were all stopped up a bit, not enough fiber in our diet kind of thing. So people weren't out buying stuff. Now they want to buy stuff. The next thing is that they load all this stuff on these cargo ships and they have no way to unload it. And now you have, many ships. I was trying to find out before I got on how many ships there were. I guess at one time there were like 85 ships out there. By the way, if you ever want to find a way to watch money get burned up, I mean, they toss it into the furnace and burn it up. Have a ship waiting with cargo, because it can't do anything. It's just costing them money every second. And I think how we ended up here is a couple of things. First and foremost is, of course, the geniuses who are managing these ports. The ports only operate during the week. I know that the current administration, because I don't really get heavy into politics on this, Raging Verbalist, but I have to point a finger and say, when these guys said, well, let's just go to 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, these things don't unload themselves. And I can tell you that there's a lot of resistance to automating our ports and all of that. Now, I know this is a global thing, but man, this is ugly. And on top of that, once you unload the little boxes, now you have to have somebody to go pick them up. And as I was preparing for this, I heard that the rail system, which is always looking for ways to get more, more cargo, is just now in negotiations to pick up the slack. Wow. Talk about being right on top of things, huh? Woo. Wonder where those guys were sitting for the last 6 months. So I think we got there for just a confluence of events. And well, if it's, a bunch of stupidity, it's also piss poor leadership, in my opinion. Need to figure that out. But from what I hear, ain't going to happen anytime soon. So get used to it, people. This is the way it is.
All right. And have you seen the effects of this in stores that you've gone to?
I have, and it's kind of interesting. A while ago, I saw the effects, which is that they brought in these little Mandalorian stuffed plush toys, and they filled at the Costco, and they filled up this big giant, box display thing. And you would think that those things were free, because they were like, just ravenous. People bought all these things. And I asked them, I asked the person who stocked them, I said, how long do they last? And she goes, usually not more than about 4 or 5 hours. And they just like, boom, they go, it's like locusts eating crops. They just go crazy. I've seen a lot of empty shelves, and it's kind of a sad day, because, we're not used to that. We're not used to those kind of empty shelves kind of thing. Now, that is just surprising to most people. Also, the fact that you're finding things that you didn't necessarily want, filling the spaces that you used to think would be there. But I have some good news on this Black Friday. I have some very good news on this Black Friday, which is, if you're wondering if we have any of the book, most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win. We have a new stock of these books. So if you go to positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com, you can buy the book. You can have it autographed. It will show up hopefully in time for Christmas, and you will be able to surprise somebody with a book which will change the course of their history and their life and all of that. So go check it out, positiontowinbook.com. You can also go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million for the physical copy. You can also get it via Kindle, Nook, and Apple Books. So go check it out there. Also, the other book is only available in the Kindle store, which is Remote Work for a Better World. But you can get those, and we are not affected by, because we actually print these in the U.S., we're not affected by the ships stuck in the harbor. So there you go. You have no excuse. Check it out.
All right. So what are some of the hot trends that people want to buy this year?
Well, it's kind of interesting, because I've been on the road for the last 3 weeks, so I'm a little out of it. So why don't you tell me some? I mean, I know that you've done this research. She's part of the cracked research team here at Raging Verbalist. I mean, we got a bank of computers behind a wall working on this all hours of the night and day. So give me a couple of them that are out there, Sandra. Tell us some of those trends, and I'll react to those, and I'm ready. And then, by the way, these might be gifts that you're not going to be able to get. So talk to me. Tell me, what are the trends? What are they?
All right, so something that I've seen repeatedly is actually weighted blankets. I've seen
So
it all over the place.
so when you say weighted blankets, you're not saying like you're waiting for the blanket. You're talking about heft. You're talking about somebody is weighting the blanket. So what in the world is a weighted blanket for?
Yeah, so a lot of people, well, what they claim anyway is it's supposed to help with anxiety, I guess. Or if you like a heavy comforter at night, like you may not necessarily want to be warmer, but you want to feel a hug, kind of, I guess. Feel like you're being cuddled, I suppose. And supposedly some of them are made with like bamboo, so they're cooling even. So, and they have them for children as well. I think they're like 6 pounds for kids and like 12 for adults.
So what it is that is it I can see a future forensic files going and they weigh down the body with a weighted comforter. I can see that one coming up. No need to attach heavy weights because your comforter will take you down. So all right, so this is a way to make you feel more secure and better. Give all of you out there, just and we don't often do this on Raging Verbalist, but just hey, give yourself a hug every once in a while. Oh, it's okay. Yikes. Okay, so weighted blankets. Where will this end? And think about this. We have a weighted blanket with bamboo. I mean, bamboo is light. So I mean, it's got to be a lot of bamboo or something. I mean, bamboo that's fed iron. Iron rich bamboo.
That's right. That's right.
All right, so there's a weighted blanket. I don't know if I'm going to get one of those or not. I mean, I understand that. And having done animal rescue, my wife does animal rescue. I can tell you that there are compression sleeves or compression wraps for dogs that have anxiety, which actually do work. I can't imagine, but I guess people need them too, right?
I guess so. After 2020, I guess people really need some help with their anxiety.
They need their anxiety, they need their compression things. So yes, I mean, I'm
That's
sure
right.
that there's got to be a trend for mummification. Where we just wrap you up, and there you go, and we just put a straw in your mouth so you can breathe, and But of course, the torture part of it is that we would put on a show that you didn't like, and you couldn't get your hands on a remote. That's well, at least I mean, I'm going to be gender neutral, but I can tell you that when guys don't get the remote, they go crazy. So if you're out there and you want to test this theory, hide the remote, and you will see men, boys. I'm just saying this. I'm a biologist, originist kind of thing, but you will see them go batshit crazy looking for that remote.
All right. So let's see. Oh, the always pan. That's another one. It's a non-stick pan, and it's got a variety of different like stacking features where you can like steam and cook at the same time. So that's been really popular this year.
So they're still out hawking cookware. For those of you who have never figured out how to cook, I mean, by the way, I like to cook. I'm a person who knows how to cook, but I'm always intrigued because the corollary to those who can't play golf is that they cook. So the non-golfer. Now, I'm not saying that aren't golfers and cooks that coincide with each other, but I noticed that cook people are a lot like golfers. So if you ever want to find a way to make money, golfers will buy anything. I mean, they'll buy anything. Mint flavored golf teas, as if you're going to chew on the golf tee. Well, people do. So they have mint flavored golf. I'm not making this up, but now you've got the always pan, which somebody has innovated a skillet, and away you go. And my favorite, of course, is to meet people who are like really, really good chefs, and what you find out is they have some really ugly looking pan that's their favorite pan. But well, okay, all right. So always pan. I mean, we'll be on the lookout.
That's right. And then there's two different phones, the Apple iPhone 13 and the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3.
Well,
Long name.
okay, so now we usually don't cover politics or religion, but we've gotten there right now. So for all of you who worship at the house of iOS, you've got your brand new iPhone 13. Now, the interesting thing is that there was a serious debate about whether or not they should call it the iPhone 13 or the 12S because it's 13. And if you've ever been to a building that when you get into the elevator and it doesn't have, it goes from the 12th floor to the 14th floor because people are superstitious, and this isn't something I'm making up. It's just, it happens a lot. I mean, as if people can't get their head wrapped around that the 14th floor is now really the 13th floor. But I mean, I got it, all symbols say 14, so you're okay. But I'm gonna tell you right now that is rather interesting to see that people do that. And why this is ringing, I have no idea. It's I guess it's somebody calling up to tell me that they want this. So it's annoying. So I have killed that. I don't know if Sandra will cut it out or leave it for your enjoyment, but we'll see. Anyway, we just leave it in because this is my life. People calling me all, 92,000 ways to contact you, and everybody tries it different way. All right. So as we were saying, get me back on track, Sandra. We were talking about
iPhone 13. That's
iPhone
what they called.
13.
Upset about the number 13.
So people were upset about the number 13, didn't know if they were going to do it or not. The iPhone 13 was out, I don't know, about 90 seconds or so. And then the new YouTube videos started coming out talking about the iPhone 14 and what it's going to have. So anyway, if you need an iPhone, the iPhone 13, see, and I've gone and looked at them, and they've got a whole bunch of different little 13s, and they look just fine. And I held one in my hand, and I didn't get my hand seared or anything, or it didn't shock me. So there you go. And they have, really cool cameras. Now, Samsung and the Android, the temple of Android, is that they have, and by the way, if you've ever purchased a Samsung phone, they put a lot of junkware on it. I have done that just a couple times. And then you got to go to like somebody to go and just, root this stuff out. But anyway, they came out with a flip phone where the screen folds, and we're now having foldable screens. My prediction of all of these foldable screens for right now is that it is a cool technological gadget in search of people who want cool technological gadgets. And my guess is that those screens crap out like the original ones they came up with. And if you really need a bigger screen, go buy a tablet because the screens are pretty big as it is. But yeah, I've seen the folding phones, and I just look at it now. The thing that I did is when I was on the road is I ended up, because my case broke, and this is on my iPhone, my case died, kicked up its little feet and just died. So I go in to buy a case. By the way, the guy sold me the wrong case, but that's a different story. Hey, it's a retail store. And I can tell you, I was looking at the new flip phones, and I was opening and closing it. And the young guy said, "Sir, we don't recommend you do that quickly and that often." Ta-da. So there you go. So, but if you want a new one, Samsung's got you covered if you're in the temple of Android. And I think those are pretty cool. I mean, by the way, every time they come up with a new phone, if your phone's like a couple generations old and you need a new phone, buy the best phone you can afford, because phones are important. Cool piece of technology. All right, one last hot item. By the way, Sandra had pages and pages of these things, of all these different various gifts. So what do we have?
All right, so I'll go into the kids division here.
All right, kids division.
Okay, so this one will be gender neutral.
Oh,
so
okay.
Little live pets. So they are toy animals, and they like talk and do all this stuff, and you can feed them but they poop as well. So they have turtles, unicorns, cats, all types of stuff. So there you go.
Yeah, and I don't know what humans' fascination with making an inanimate object that does the parts of things that we don't necessarily want to be doing. But okay, and do they bring their own excrement with them? Do you have to buy extra excrement? I mean, what do you have to do
I think
here?
it's included, actually. I think it's included.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Right.
some of it's like glittery. So think like Play-Doh consistency or like that goops stuff, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
the only time I was seriously around glitter was my Vegas days, and I can tell you, it sure wasn't for young eyes. So okay, all right. Well, there you go. It's good to see. It's good to see that somebody is out there thinking of what we might get to. Okay, so there we go. We have glitter poop, and all right. So give me let's steer out of this ditch and go out get back on track. So what else do we have?
All right. So is this confirmation of what you were talking about like a year ago, how we're going to be on a different path since the pandemic?
So when the pandemic first hit, I was listening to people who were bravely talking about how this is just a couple of weeks and then we're back to normal. And I likened it to you're sitting in a minivan. So for those of you who've never driven a minivan, but you're sitting in a minivan and you got your life in your minivan. And what happens is that there's a something happens in front of you. Big giant anvil falls off of the truck in front of you, and you whip the wheel hard this way, and then you whip it back that way, and it's kind of like an avoidance behavior, and that is what a lot of people thought this was all going to be. And I said, nope, this is a deflection point. And for those of you who don't know what deflection point means, it means that once we get onto another path, we're not going to come back to where we were. So deflection is that the big giant anvil falls off, but other stuff starts to fall off, and you basically jerk the wheel and get on a different road, and you're not following the truck with all the crap falling off of it. And I think this is a vindication of that. People still talk. I was talking to a client earlier today, and still talking about how when is it going to get back to normal? And the answer is we're there. This is what it is going to be. This is not going to be where we're going to just get back to swing the wheel back over and where everything is all good. This is going to be an ongoing situation. It will continue to change and morph, by the way, but it will absolutely stay on this path, in my opinion, for as long as you're going to be alive. Because once you deflect, you're on a different trajectory, and that's just the way it is.
All right. So do you see it going back to the way it used to be?
I don't see it going back to the way it used to be, and I think that a large percentage of the population will need that weighted blanket. They're going to need the little toy that poops. They're going to need all of those kind of comfort things. Maybe even some libations of sorts to keep them thinking that this is going to be okay. Because we're going to go in a different direction, and that direction is going to be in off into the other dimension. We're going to be doing that, and that's just the way it goes, and that's just the nature of the world. And so my suggestion for all of you is to learn how to cope with this. The less time you spend talking about the way it used to be. See, I love hearing this, by the way, just so you know, and I'm saying this sarcastically, is that I lived growing up with the whole stigma and the overhang of the Great Depression. And as far as I could tell, there was no Great Depression around, because that was way in the rearview mirror. But it so affected people's lives that 10, 20, I'm not that old, but 20, 30 years later, and I'm talking 30, 40 years later, people were still talking about it. People were still affected by that. And all I can say is, for the betterment of your life, the sooner you can get over it, and the sooner you can just say, you know what, shit happens, we're going in a different place, and just get over it, the sooner your life is going to get better. because most of the time people are just pulling themselves down and pulling themselves down. All right, Sandra, what else do we have?
All right. So how does somebody deal with these issues in their life?
So I think what you want to do is in some ways you want to just take all that you think how things should be and write them down and ask if that's even possible anymore. But more importantly, say, how do I take advantage of the situation that exists today? And by taking advantage of it, I'm going to now move forward in a positive, productive way. You are the decider. You end up with, I end up with, Sandra ends up with, somebody who has a little doll that poops ends up with the life that they select and picked for the most part. Now, you can't pick the time that you were born in. You can't pick some of those things, but you can pick what you're going to end up doing with it. And I can tell you that over the course of my life, course of watching and reading about history, is that you have to figure out how to make your life better. So that means that every day you got to make things just a little bit better. And every day you got to see if you can insulate yourself from the crazy, because, you know, we got a lot of crazy going on, and that crazy has like gone off the rails, and we're, you know, it was on a dimmer switch, as the saying goes, and now it's a full blown flipped crazy switch. And you see people doing that, you know, watching people buy, you know, dozens and dozens of rolls of toilet paper right now, when there really is no, you know, I mean, I don't know how much, well, maybe because they're buying these dolls, they need that extra toilet paper. I don't know. But, you know, they're just, they just seem to get, you know, they're getting absorbed into this. And what it is that they're reacting, I think, to false evidence. I don't think it really is as bad as that. And what you need to do is you need to figure out how to, you know, pull it together, suck it up, and move on. And if you do that, I think that's how you're going to get, things are going to get better. I can also say shamelessly that it could get better if, in fact, you were reading. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes us 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to win, which you can get before Christmas for all those people who maybe need to get some insight and understanding. I can tell you, having lived through some ups and downs, some amazing tragedies in life, and excellent highs, that life is filled of all of those. And the sooner you get your head wrapped around it, the better. And I hope that you have great success in your quest for Black Friday deals. Sandra has already said to me, and maybe she'll share it with us, that the sadness is that she has all of these various catalogs and things, and stuff is already sold out. So she is going to have some really sad little nieces and nephews. And I think that, well, you know, considering that she doesn't want to take my recommendations about buying them lottery tickets or something like that. But so, you know, that has happened. So with that, I want to thank Sandra, of course, for being here. I want to say to all of you, go out and have a great and safe and not insane Black Friday. And most importantly, come on back to the Raging Verbalist next week. Make sure you hit the like, the subscribe, the notification. If you're on YouTube, go to the Facebook page, Position to Win Book, and check us out. With that, I'm the Raging Verbalist, John Paul Meducha, and we are done.